Welcome to the Safe Money Retirement Show with certified financial fiduciary Tim Wood.
Let's sit down and make an actual plan, and we have definitely got to factor in that retirement danger zone. I wish to God someone had sat down and done that with my dad. We wish we would have known about these things.
Tim is a retirement and income planning expert, best-selling author, and the founder of SafeMoneyRetirement.com. Tim focuses on wealth management, retirement income, tax and long-term care planning, and so much more.
Today is your opportunity to build the tomorrow you want. You've got an 87% chance of success. Well, son, that's a 13% chance of failure.
And now, the Safe Money Retirement Show with Tim Wood.
And we welcome you into this week's edition of the Safe Money Retirement Show. Alongside Tim Wood, he's the founder, president, and certified financial fiduciary with Safe Money Retirement. My name's Kevin McAlpin. Tim and I appreciate you joining us once again on the show. We hope you're having a great day, and we got a lot of great stuff to get to coming up here in just a few moments. On today's show, we know markets remain shaky, so Tim's going to tell you how he can help you build a plan that doesn't rely on all the latest news we're hearing. Plus, are you Camp FOMO, YOLO, or JOMO? I can't wait to hear Tim's answer to that one as you get closer to retirement. Plus, of course, you know we're going to have our safe money story of the week. But first things first, we do say hello to my good buddy, Mr. Tim Wood. And Tim, I hope you are doing well today, sir. It's always great to be with you.
I am doing well. It's great to be with you as well. And isn't it hard to believe we're already over a quarter of the way done with the year?
No.
We just put the Christmas tree up. I mean, literally just put it away. Yeah. And here we are already in, April. It's crazy.
If you do still have your Christmas decorations up, I guess at this point you might as well just leave them up. The holidays are going to be here before we know it with as fast as this year is going by, right?
Mm-hmm. Or just get some springy or summery type lights to put on the tree and then just take them off and you're good to go. Yeah.
This is my 4th of July tree. That's what and you can decorate it real big this year for 250th anniversary. So that's a
good idea. See, some people can do that. Go back and get your tree. You and Melissa should go back and get your tree and put it back up and tell her you're going to do a 4th of July tree. She'd love it.
Yeah, hard pass on that one. You don't know my Melissa all that well. She does have, she's a Jersey girl. We take her out of Jersey, but that Jersey never leaves your blood. So I don't think that's ever gonna happen, pal. You know that. You know better than that, don't you?
I do. I'm married to a girl from North. Yes, I know.
There you go. Well, listen, we could talk about our wives all day long, but we do have a lot to get into on the program today. And if any of the topics that Tim and I cover have you wanting to learn more, especially as you get closer to retirement, maybe you're in that window 3 to 5 years away, or maybe you've been in retirement for a while and you haven't had someone take a look at the plan you've got in place. Remember, folks, retirement is not a set it and forget it type situation. Your plan's got to be fluid, and with everything going on these days, that is certainly truer than ever. If you'd like to learn more, you want to sit down with Tim and his team at Safe Money Retirement, there's no cost, there's no obligation. 800-913-SAFE. That's 800-913-7233 or online at safemoneyretirement.com. So, Tim, we know the market remains choppy with everything going on overseas and inflation and so on. And a lot of investors are wondering the same thing. Are we at the bottom? Or is this just another pause? Well, I want to play this piece of sound for you. This is equity strategist Scott Kronwert recently talking about that very topic with CNBC. Take a listen.
This has been more taken a day at a time as the news flow unfolds. And so I think it's sort of a tricky place to say we've found bottom. I would say, generally speaking, when we talk about corrective phases, down 5 to 10% is a pretty good benchmark. So I'd say short term, we're probably okay. But, headlines can change tomorrow.
And boy, have they. I mean, there's never been a truer statement on this show. Headlines can change tomorrow. Heck, they can change next hour at this rate, can't they?
Right. No doubt. Yeah. And I mean, I respect Scott. I mean, certainly, but I don't know that I would say we've seen bottom yet. Mm-hmm. I mean, people were saying that when the market was down 5 to 10% in 08 and 09. Right. People were saying that when the market was down 5 to 10% in 2000, 2001, and we saw what happened. So, I think that's kind of a stretch to say that we've seen the bottom. I think that I don't think the bubble is burst. I think it's obvious, even with the little bit of correction that we've had, I think there's still more to come. Now, that's just my personal belief. I don't know. My crystal ball is broken. Those of you watching on video, I actually have a crystal ball right over here, but it's got a sticky note on it that says out of order. And it's, that thing has been out of order since I owned it. It was completely useless. But I wish I knew. So I could be wrong.
Right.
But when you look at all the things going on, yeah, there's just so many things that could cause the market to go down more. Yeah, saying that we're at the bottom already, I mean, I hope he's right. I do hope he's right.
Yeah.
But that to me sounds kind of like a stretch.
Yeah.
And a hope.
Right. And as we know, a hope is not a plan when it comes to retirement. We're not talking about 10 years. We're talking about hopefully 30 or even 40 years of a retirement. That's a long way to try to hope your way through, isn't it?
It is, especially if you're relying on something that is 100% at risk. Absolutely. I mean, that's huge. And that's one of the things, we talk about it every week, making that transition from acquisition to distribution. That's so hard for so many people making that transition because they've been in acquisition mode their entire life. Let's get the best interest rate. Let's get the most growth we can. Let's make sure we sell at the top and buy at the bottom and, all that stuff. And that's all great stuff. That's all good stuff. But when you're in retirement, the rules change. The rules change because you can't have all those losses. You don't have the time horizon that you had when you were in your 30s and 40s,
right,
when you're in your 60s and 70s. There's different rules. When you don't have money coming in from an income anymore, there's different rules on what you need to do with your money. So making that transition and getting things out of those accounts that are all at risk, that's what's really important when you make the transition from retirement, or into retirement. So I hear what Scott's saying, and maybe we are at the bottom, and that's okay. People always say, you want to sell high and buy low. Well, I hear people all the time say, well, the market just went down. I don't want to get into any of your products right now, Tim. I want to wait for it to come back up and I'll get in then. We don't know that it's ever going to be up another day in our lives.
Right.
Now, will it? Yes, of course it will. But we don't know that. So we're still up pretty doggone good. Even now, even after the setbacks that we've had, we're still pretty good compared to where we were a couple years ago,
right,
even. It still is a really good time to make that long-term, solid, definite, guaranteed plan, whether it's income, whether it's growth with no losses, whether it's something for long-term care, whether it's something to pass to a beneficiary, whatever the heck it is you need. This is a really good time to make that change and basically get that locked in. So you don't have the stress. You don't have to worry about whether we're at the bottom or not. Don't worry about that. When you're in retirement, you shouldn't be worried about that mess. You should be enjoying your retirement. Let's get you a plan so you can do that.
And it all starts with one phone call to Tim Wood. He's the founder, president, and certified financial fiduciary with Safe Money Retirement. And folks, if you'd like to learn more, you'd like to start building that plan for your finances. Remember, this is not something you want to try to DIY your way through. You don't want to try to YouTube your way through your retirement. Tim and his team, they are just a phone call away. And again, there's no cost, there's no obligation. Pick up the phone, get on his calendar, 800-913-SAFE. That's 800-913-7233. Online at safemoneyretirement.com. That's safemoneyretirement.com.
It's now time for our Safe Money Story of the Week. Visit safemoneystories.com to view more.
For this week's Safe Money Story of the Week, I'm actually going to kind of turn things on their head and talk about a unique situation where a gentleman came in very much in a situation where all of his money was at risk. And he said that he wanted to get money out of risk. So we sat down, we looked at multiple plans. We looked at a growth plan, which we've got fantastic growth plans out there with caps on the S&P, really high caps, no fees, no chances of losses. We looked at one of those. We also looked at income plans for him. We put this whole thing together, and you know what? He decided not to do it. He could not make that transition from that mentality of grow, that acquisition mentality that you hear Kevin and I talk about. He could not make that transition. I worked with him for weeks after we had put a plan together, and he just, in his mind, he could not make that transition. So he's still in the market at risk. That's where he still is today, as far as I know. So every single story does not end with a fairy tale. There's not a Disney ending to every single story. And if the market were to go off a cliff tomorrow and over the next few months it goes down like it did between 2000 and 2004 or, 8 and 9, that's realistic. That could happen. If that happens, unfortunately, this gentleman just, put a couple nails in the coffin for his retirement. and he may be going back to work. That's just reality. So I just wanted to point out that not everybody that comes to see me decides to do what we are talking about. They don't. People have to make their own decisions, and they need to understand that a lot of this is on the individual. It's on you listening. Are you ready to lose the stress? Are you ready to know that you have a plan? Are you really ready for that? Some people aren't. You need to know you've got a plan, and you need to know what's going to happen to that plan, but some people just aren't ready. And if you're not ready, that's totally fine. There is no one in my company that's going to force you to do a thing. That's why I kind of wanted to bring this story out of left field, that I do have people that can't make that transition. And if that's you and we sit down and talk and you decide, you know what? No, I've been in the market for all these years. I'm going to stay in the market, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, well, God bless you. If you change your mind and you get tired of all the stress, you know where we are. Good Lord willing, we're not going anywhere. So he left still stressed as he could be, because all of his money is still in the market. But that was his choice. Mm-hmm. So again, it's your choice. I prefer people to walk out knowing that they've got a definite, guaranteed, rock solid plan. For sure, here's where my income's going to come from. It's going to come for as long as I'm breathing, and it doesn't matter what happens in the market. That's what I like to help people with, and it's going to be up to you when we sit down.
And of course, if you'd like to learn more, you can always visit Tim online at safemoneyretirement.com. Again, that website is safemoneyretirement.com. And Tim, 30, 60 seconds, basically, really what it all boils down to is the beauty of you being independent, not being part of a big box firm, right? Having that opportunity to really understand everybody that walks through the door, everybody that picks up the phone, everyone that gets on your calendar, everyone's situation completely different, completely unique, and you can tailor a plan specific for each of our listeners' individual goals in their retirement.
Absolutely. And you just hit on a huge thing that we don't talk about probably as much as we should, and that is that we are totally independent. So we are searching all of the top companies in whatever state that you're in. Right now, the last time I checked, Safe Money Retirement is in 29 states. So in all 29 states that we are in, and if you're in a state that we're not, guess what? We can get in a new state within a week. Mm-hmm. So it's not a problem. Right. But all the states that we're in, essentially, we are totally independent. So yeah, what Kevin was saying is you're not going to come in and all I can show you is products from company A or company B or company C or any of them. I'm showing you all of them. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing is, when you can search everybody in the general market and everybody, those companies that you see that are on every corner, almost never are they the highest percentage. Mm-hmm. It's incredibly rare. So you want to sit down with someone that can search everybody. And if you're with one of those box stores that's on the corner, it might really make sense to sit down with someone that can make sure what you've got is the best thing, because there's a lot of other options out there to us independent guys. Yeah, no doubt about it. If you want to learn more, of course, you can always visit safemoneyretirement.com. That's how you can reach Tim Wood and his team. Again, safemoneyretirement.com. You can also view all of our recent Safe Money stories if you missed any here over the last couple of weeks. All right, we'll squeeze in a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We got a whole lot more of this week's edition of the Safe Money Retirement Show with Tim Wood, founder, president, and certified financial fiduciary with Safe Money Retirement. And that's coming up right after this.
Hey, it's Glenn Beck. Do you still have all of your retirement money at risk in the market? Most know that I don't do that. It's way too dangerous, in my opinion, at least. The fact the market could fall off a cliff tomorrow, yet many don't have an expert you can trust. Let me tell you about Tim Wood. Now, he's the owner of Safe Money Retirement. That's a certified financial fiduciary and a best-selling author. I met Tim personally, and I can tell you that he and his team can help you plan your own guaranteed lifetime income streams to cover you and your spouse and grow your money while protecting it from a market crash. Go to safemoneyretirement.com/Beck or call 800-913-SAFE to schedule a no-obligation free 15-minute discovery call with Tim. You know I just don't trust anyone, and so do your own homework with Tim at safemoneyretirement.com/Beck and book your free discovery call with Tim online or call 800-913-SAFE and get started today.
It is the Safe Money Retirement Show, and we're glad to have you with us. Alongside Tim Wood, you know him. You hear him every week on the show. He's the founder, president, and certified financial fiduciary with Safe Money Retirement. My name's Kevin McAlpin. Tim and I are so grateful to have you with us once again on the show. We hope you're having a great day, and we hope you're getting some great information from the program. As always, if you'd like to learn more, you can always visit Tim and his team online. The website is safemoneyretirement.com. Again, safemoneyretirement.com. So, Tim, you and I, friends on social media, but I got a question for you. Are you a big TikTok guy? You prop the phone up, do some dances in the office when no one's watching? Be honest. Come on.
I don't even have TikTok on my phone, brother. No, not interested.
All right. You stay away from the dances. It's funny because, we have our neighborhood pool, and you get down there in the summer, and 2 or 3 of the girls are out there doing little dances. I'm like, man, they didn't have any of this when we were kids. We had the old rotary phone. Try to find a high schooler or a college kid now to make a phone call on the old rotary phone. Good luck with that. Yeah, that would be fun, wouldn't it?
That would be funny.
They wouldn't even know where to start looking at that thing. Wait, you can't put this thing in your pocket? No. Well, all right. Well, okay, we've established you're not a TikTok guy, but if you are, for those of folks who are out there who are on social media, there's a guy by the name of Willie Sun, and he wanted to know some of the unusual ways people are using AI. We know technology continues to evolve, so he decides to go online and do a deep dive into the comments. Take a listen to this.
I asked ChatGPT to review the Florida Lottery website and tell me which scratch off to buy with the best chances of winning based on remaining prizes. I didn't win big, but I won $100. A win's a win. I uploaded a hospital bill. Chat showed me a charge that shouldn't be there and drafted a letter for me to dispute. The hospital took off the $3,200 charge and I was paid in full. Yes, ma'am. Using it to give me probabilities in the stock market, up 40% this year.
Okay, so yeah, the technology is evolving. It's still very infant, if you will. But Tim, let me ask you, where do you draw the line when it comes to AI? Advice may be conflicting with an individual's long-term strategy when it comes to their personal retirement. Because again, as we talked about in the previous segment, you're not a big box firm. You're not tied to just those, standard one-size-fits-all plans, which is kind of what you feel like you get with AI right now, doesn't it?
Well, and it's more of a one size fits all. Mm-hmm. I mean, those AI things, unless you have spent hours and hours and hours training them on exactly what you feel and how you feel. Listen, it kind of goes right back to the RISA. You and I have talked about that before. It's on my website. Y'all can do it. Anyone listening, go to my website right now, safemoneyretirement.com. Click on the RISA tab. It's the Retirement Income Style Awareness Assessment. And that will tell you what's going to actually make you happiest in retirement. Guess what? AI doesn't know the answers to that. Mm-hmm. There's a few other challenges with AI and having AI. Now, I like AI. I do use AI for some stuff. I don't use it for audio or video or things that I'm really putting out to people, but there are some things that I use it for. There's some things that's great for. Meeting notes, fantastic.
Right.
It can compile them. It can give you a summary. It can help you even with action items. There's some things it's fantastic at. But some of the problems with AI, number one, is a lot of times there's outdated numbers that it's using. It's going to say, well, back in 2024, if you had done such and such and such and such, okay, well, that's great. The market is nothing like it was. The market's nothing like it was last month, mm-hmm. much less last year, a year before. Another thing is that AI, in some cases, I have seen it kind of ignore volatility and pretend like it's not really that big of a deal, because, of course, to it, it's not at all. But that's something that you need to sit down with someone and see whether that's really important to you. It also, in some cases, I see AI really miss some of the real world stuff. I mean, does AI kind of have an idea what's going on in the world? Yes. But there's a whole human emotional and energetic factor that AI cannot figure in. And they don't have any idea what the overall sentiment is and whether we all feel things are going to go up or we feel things are going to go down and how we feel about the wars and the politics and all that stuff. All this stuff plays into everything. And a lot of that stuff, that's the challenge that I have with AI is you're not getting any of that human factor. And, and another thing is on socials, and honestly, one of the reasons that I have, for the most part, I mean, I'm still on somewhat because I have to be for my business, but I'm off socials for the most part. You want to know why? Because I don't know whether 90% of that stuff that you see is real or it's AI. Mm-hmm. there's a company out there, they're marketing to me all the time. I could literally, people, right now, this is true. I could record a 5-minute video. They could take the audio from that and the video from the camera and create virtual Tim. And this was their sales pitch. You will never have to record another radio show ever again. You will never have to record another video ever again. You can literally just type in what you want it to say and it will create it for you. Or you can just say, talk about taxes and retirement, and the AI would create the whole thing and put it out there. So that's a little scary to me.
No doubt.
I mean, and then like I said, you go on any of the socials and you don't know whether that stuff is real or not. Sometimes my family will come and show me something that somebody did on social, and I'll be like, come on, really? I mean, no. No, that person did not do that. Let's get real.
Right.
So that's really the other thing is the human factor. The human factor that AI, maybe someday they will somehow figure out how to do that. That's really scary. That's getting into Sarah Connor's Terminator type territory. But all of those things, I mean, I hear what he's saying, and he's up 40% this year. That's fantastic. But here's the thing. He hasn't made 40% because he hasn't sold.
Right.
So he hasn't made 40%. People tell me all the time, oh, I made 40% this year. You did? Great. When did you sell? Well, I haven't sold. Then you hadn't made a penny.
Right.
Hate to be the one to tell you that. Until you sell, you hadn't made a penny, because you could lose that 40% in the next, theoretically any amount of time. You know what I mean? The next week, that could be gone. So you haven't made a penny until it's sold. But that's my big challenges with AI is it's not always perfectly up to date. It ignores some of the main market factors, and it doesn't have that human factor that is ultimately important and helps us determine what we want to do with our lives and how we want to move forward. Obviously, it doesn't have any of that type of energy.
If you're looking for that real live human, he's Tim Wood. You hear him on the radio every single week. He's also the founder, president, and certified financial fiduciary with Safe Money Retirement. And if you'd like to learn more, you want to sit down with a human, not just plug some numbers into the AI technology. The number to get on Tim's calendar today, 800-913-SAFE. Again, it's 800-913-7233. Online at safemoneyretirement.com. That's safemoneyretirement.com. All right, Tim, I want to have a little fun with you before the end of the show here this week. I'm going to throw a couple of terms your way. If you can give me the outline, the full terms to these abbreviations. How about FOMO? You ever heard of FOMO?
Absolutely. That's fear of missing out. Yeah, I'm very familiar with FOMO.
Very good. How about YOLO? You ever heard of YOLO?
Absolutely. You only live once. I have heard that one as well.
There you go. How about this one, though? This one was a new one for me. JOMO. J-O-M-O. You ever heard of JOMO?
No, I have not. What is JOMO? Is that a new one?
Apparently, it's the joy of missing out. Basically, you don't care and you're happy with not jumping in with the rest of the crowd. I thought that was kind of interesting, right? Because FOMO, you have the fear of missing out. YOLO, right. You're only living once. You might be spending like you're going to die tomorrow. But the joy of missing out, not wanting to follow the crowd, that was kind of an interesting abbreviation, didn't you?
I can see people, and I don't want to stereotype, but let's get real. The older people get, the more comfortable they are not doing things. Mm-hmm. That's just in general. Now, there are exceptions. Absolutely. There are exceptions. So if you're an exception, I apologize. But I think that the fear of missing out, outweighs the joy of missing out for most people.
Yeah. I agree with you. All right, so in a minute or two, what would you say maybe of those three? What would you say of those abbreviations would be the best for a retiree to adopt? Would it be FOMO, YOLO, or JOMO?
YOLO.
Yeah.
100%. Absolutely. I mean, I talk to my clients, and y'all hear me talk about this every single week, living retirement. Mm-hmm. You really do only live once, as far as we know. I mean, I am not a deity, so I do not know. I cannot speak with authority. Right. But as far as we know, we only live once. So let's make sure that it's the best it can be for you people. You've saved up all of this money. Let's use it wisely. Let's put it into something that's going to pay y'all forever so you never have to worry about your income. Let's put it into something that's got those inflation buster plans so you can get more income in the future. Let's put it into something that's still going to grow that you can withdraw from if you ever want to, but you don't have to worry about when a market crashes. Let's do something that's going to give you the joy because you only live once. YOLO, man. That's where I think that people's focus needs to be more in retirement, is enjoying it. I mean, you worked your entire life to get there. And your entire life, here's an example. When I do seminars, I always use this example every time. People tell me, oh man, when I was planning for retirement, I decided when I retired, I was going to join the country club and, go on that trip to Spain and do this and do that. Well, have you done any of that? No. And then some people I've worked with, they never do. And then they pass away. Well, guess what their kids do? YOLO, man.
Right.
Let's go.
Yeah.
We're going to go to join the country club. We're going to go on the trip to Spain. We're going to do all the things mom and dad never did because they weren't, they were living in more of a fear mindset. Mm-hmm. They weren't living in the joy. So I would say you only live once, man. Let's make sure you've got a plan for your retirement that's going to make you happy, that's going to make you fulfilled, and that you'll be able to sustain no matter how long you live.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, if you're curious which is right for you, is it FOMO, YOLO, or JOMO? And let's see if you can get Tim to describe what that one is for you. JOMO, that was a brand new one for me. You want to get on his calendar and you'd like to learn more about putting a plan in place for your retirement, you can always reach him on the website, folks. It's safemoneyretirement.com. Again, safemoneyretirement.com. Of course, it all starts with reaching out, getting that conversation started today. Tim, the founder, president, and certified financial fiduciary with Safe Money Retirement. Well, Tim, time flies when we're having fun. I don't think there's an abbreviation for that one as of yet, but maybe we'll make up one at some point. And before we do have to say goodbye for the week, sir, the floor is once again all yours for the final word.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. Hope everyone enjoyed the show. I thought it was fantastic this week. We talked about some really important things. The FOMO, YOLO, and JOMO. That's definitely important. And things that we need to talk about. I mean, those are things that you need to sit down and have a discussion about, with people. We also talked about AI and how AI is a good tool. That's a tool to have in your toolbox, to have on your tool belt. That's not the general contractor. Mm-hmm. That's not the person that's going to do the overall plan. It's just a tool that we will use to help create some things and help guide some things. But you need a general contractor. You need someone to overlook your retirement holistically. That's why when we sit down with people, we start with a fact finder that includes everything, so we have everything on the table so we can make a full plan and make sure that it's going to get you where you want to go. I real quick want to go back to the very first thing that we talked about in this section, and that was talking about, are we at the bottom? Are we at the bottom of this bubble right now? People that think we are, that's great, and I hope they're right. But let's just look historically. I tell you what, I make a challenge for anyone listening. Go back and look at the S&P 500 from 2000 until now, and you tell me. You look at the numbers. You tell me, do you think that we're at the bottom? Really? Look at where this has gone over the last 26 years, and you don't think it can go back down to where it was? Really? Make sure that you are prepared. Make sure that you know what you're going to do. Make sure that you have got a definite, concrete plan so you can have your own safe money retirement.
The preceding information does not represent tax, legal, or investment advice. Obviously, by contacting us now, you are only taking the first step towards protecting your retirement. No information presented today should be acted upon without meeting with a qualified, licensed insurance professional. It is important that you read all insurance contract disclosures carefully before making a purchase decision. Interest and other guarantees in annuity contracts are subject to the claims paying ability of the insurance carrier that issued the contract. The tax consequences of annuity income should be considered with the help of a licensed tax professional. Rates and returns mentioned on this program may vary based on state availability and are subject to change without notice.